Hello there, fabulous people. So I am back doing another fun little VR today, and this is to Jules at Esoteric Cosmos and Books, and it's a VR to her hashtag chakra deck. So I will link Jules's video below. She also gave like a descriptive word for each of these, and I'm going to use her descriptive words when I go through the decks I've chosen for each one. So for our base chakra, Jules chose the word grounding. And for me, with all these categories, there were crossovers, but grounding for me instantly brought to mind my beautiful John Bower tarot. This deck is the earth, you know, everything about it is, it's rocks and stones and greenery, and for a deck that was created out of pre-existing artwork, this deck is one of my easiest readers as well. And I don't know, you just sit with this deck and you feel like you are a part of the earth. So that is why, to me, this is the deck that I chose as my grounding deck. You sit with the characters in here and you feel like you're a part of their world. Some world that's like deep, deep, deep into the forest. And yeah. So for me, this is a very grounding deck, and oh, I love this. Now that I've pulled it out, I just want to keep it out and play with it all day. So yeah, so this is my base chakra grounding deck. Okay, so next with our sacral chakra, Jules chose the word sensuality, and I am going with the same deck that Jules chose for this, and that is my Marielle. And I just agree with Jules that this deck is such a sensual deck. And I know a lot of people don't like a lot or some of the elements of nudity in this, the way some of it's done. For example, your King of Pentacles. But I don't know, there's beauty in the nakedness that comes through in the artwork of this deck. There's a realness but a vulnerability to it, and yeah, it's a deck that it screams sensuality in the sense of that just comfort with being in your own body by the images that are portrayed, but also through the passion that this deck exudes, in my opinion. So this, like, even that, you know, like, that is passion to me, you know. So yeah, for me, this deck definitely had to be the deck of, there's our famous King of Pentacles, or what are they called in here, discs. Yeah, everything about it is passionate. It does have that sensual feeling to it. The people portrayed in the artwork and how they're portrayed, there's just this beautiful, genuine comfort within the human body that this deck is suggestive of to me. So moving along to our solar plexus chakra, and Jules used the word power for this one. And I have gone with a recent addition to my collection, and that is the Shimmering Veil Tarot. because this deck it's fiery. It just, everything about it to me says power. Absolute power, confidence, getting to the core of what's deep and internal and kind of bringing that into the light. Look at that. Look at the power in her. Her, him, them. I just, yeah. Everything about, like, look at that. Look at the power in the warrior of air, which would be the knight of air. I almost have no words for like how this exudes power. I actually chose this one. You can choose the one with the snake. I don't have a phobia of snakes. I chose this one because I just loved that idea of having the lightning in your hands and yes, the power of having that lightning between your two hands. So yeah, that is the deck I chose for power in the solar plexus region. Now for the heart chakra, and Jules's word was love, and I actually chose my Muse Tarot for this one. This is, I've talked about this deck before and how I work with it quite differently. I very much see me in every image, in every card. I don't know, I mean, I can see myself in other decks when I'm reading for myself, but that can also translate in other decks to whoever I'm reading for. With this deck, I don't know if I will ever use this deck to read for somebody else. I'm not saying I won't, but it's a very, very personal deck to me, and very hard to talk about the way in which I do work with this in such a kind of internal, individualized way. I don't know if that made any sense to anybody, but yeah. Plus, there's just beauty in it. There's beauty in all the flowers and the colors, and you know that. Did I hold that the right way? Yeah. Yeah, this deck does scream love to me, and very much like a self-love, a self-care, a self-love, that nurturing your own heart and soul. That's very much what this deck is about for me. So to me, the Muse Tarot had to be the one I placed for the word love in the heart chakra. So next we have the throat chakra, and Jules talked about this as being like using the keyword of messages, and she sort of referred to it around like those decks that are very kind of the chatty type decks. And I went with my Dark Mansion Tarot because I've talked about this before as well, for a deck that has this rose petal cardstock that is generally hard to shuffle, it's sticky. Ever since I received this deck from the beautiful Mendy who gifted it to me, it has not shut up. Like, it just, I will have cards literally jump out of this deck, and that's pretty interesting. And I'm not shuffling crazily or anything like that. But to me, that's pretty interesting, given it is not an easy deck to shuffle. It's not a slippery, slidey deck. Like, and it doesn't matter what kind of reading it is, whether it's a reading for myself, whether it's a reading for somebody else. This deck talks, and it talks beautifully, and it gets to the point, and yeah, so it's definitely a great deck for me to associate with that throat chakra area and that keyword Jules used with messages, because it has never failed to give me incredible messages, or given other people I've used it with great messages. So yeah, that's my deck of choosing for the throat chakra. Then we move up to the third eye, and Jules used the keywords of like mind and perception for this. And, you know, so I guess for me, when I think of a deck that kind of encompasses that idea of the third eye chakra, it is about different perceptions, and it's about going deep and just taking you to a place that is so far removed from reality almost. You know, if you were able to tap right into that third eye chakra. And I chose my Phylakos for this one, because this deck, to me, it is all about perception. You know, every time I've spoken about it, I've mentioned the fact that this is like the main deck of all the decks I have, where the traditional like RWS meanings do not even come into this. I read this deck completely intuitively, and so it just made perfect sense that this deck for me would be the deck I would choose in the place of my third eye chakra. I love this so much. Oh. So yeah, so my beautiful Phylakos, and yes, mine is trimmed and edged in like a deep blue, is my deck of choosing for the third eye chakra. And then, okay, surprise, ran out of storage. It's usually always that, or somebody calling and interrupting. So for our final chakra, the crown chakra, Jules's keyword for this was high vibe. And in my deck collection, I cannot get, like for me personally, anything more high vibe than my Tower of the She. This deck is just like a whole nother dimension. It reads beautifully, it gives incredible messages. It doesn't matter if I am doing a, you know, simple basic like daily draw type reading with it, or if I'm doing a deep dark serious reading with this deck. It just never fails to give the most amazing high energy, definitely high vibe messages. And yeah, there's just no other deck in my collection. There's ones that come close, but none that come as close to fitting into that crown chakra high vibe energy like the beautiful Tower of the She. So I love this. Okay, so that is it. That is my like 7 chosen decks for the chakras. Thank you, Jules, for creating this tag. It was a nice, fun one to think about and to put together and look at all the cards that just by using the chakra and a word associated with that, kind of working out which decks feel like they fit into that category for me. So this was lots of fun and I hope more people partake in it. And I will definitely put Jules's info below and the link to her original video for this one. Alright, thanks for watching. Love to all and I'll see you next time. Bye.